Welcome to episode 399 of Dial the Gate, the Stargate Oral History Project. My name is David Reed. I am the host and executive producer of this channel. Terrell Rothery is going to be joining us for episode 400. Until then, James Young of Venture Pictures. This kid and what he can do with this utility blender, it's more than just an appliance in your kitchen. It is a free tool that, with enough time and determination and just your willingness to sit and explore people creating content on YouTube and them showing you how to use the tools, you can create almost, and I keep on thinking of George McFly, if you put, or Marty, I guess, and then George, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. That's what this guy has done. And I have been just blown away by his content on YouTube and Instagram. And I reached out to him and I said, look, well, I want that shot. There was a specific shot. It's Atlantis on the water that he originally put out. And I was like, I want that for my end credits, but I have some tweaks. You have to light the central spire and some of the other towers, and I want there to be like mist on the water, and I want like halfway through the shot for the stars to come out because it's so. We're going to spend some time with James. You're going to get to meet him, and he's a passionate Stargate fan. He has some ideas about what he wants to see in the new show, so we're gonna share some of those as well. We're gonna get a little bit into Star Wars, Star Trek, and Battlestar Galactica. Anything with "star" in the title, basically. Let's spend some time with him and get to know him as an artist and as a Stargate fan, because he's going to be collaborating with me on some different content through season 6 of Dial the Gate as we get into this mega enormous season together. So let's bring in James Young of Venture Pictures. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad, man. How's you?
Well, the sun is coming up here. You've had it for a little while today, but you know what? I'm going to take advantage of golden hour and just see how I feel about this shot as it becomes absolutely unbearable. Dude, your work is genius.
Oh, thank you, man.
Your visuals are so captivating. And what I'm learning from you is that it's not as hard as a lot of people might think it would be using
Yeah,
this technology.
yeah,
How long have you been using Blender?
yeah. So with Blender, like I think sort of like a lot of people, I think have the same story. Like where during COVID, I think where we're all kind of like locked in a bit and sort of not doing what we're usually doing. I think I sort of just discovered like through Blender that actually like there's so many things that you can do, and I think that what a lot of people like sometimes struggle with is they see it, they get completely overwhelmed with it, and they go, "I could never do that." But I think what I realized is that there's so many like free resources out there that like, a lot of really great people share, that I sort of started using a lot of those resources to kind of like discover myself on like, well, how do I want to make these scenes that are in my head. And I think like with all the models and with a lot of YouTube tutorials, and I think also like community building and sort of making connections within the 3D community, I think then you start like gaining a bit of an understanding bit by bit. And I think like looking back on, say, what is it now, the last 6 years since COVID, like in those 6 years I've learned a lot, but I'm still learning. And I think if you sort of trust the process, really like stick at it, and you're really passionate about something, I think you're going to get there. But I'm definitely like I was saying just before, like I'm a big believer of like collaborations, and I think that if you don't know what you're doing, I think it's always good to sort of like search out people who do, and then there is so many good people out there who do want to help you. It's not like a gatekeepery thing. And I think that anyone who is gatekeepery, they just don't last. I think they come and they go quite quickly, I feel. So
Yeah,
yeah,
unless they're
I think just
extraordinary in and
collaboration.
of themselves. Yeah.
Exactly. But I think just like collaborations for me at least, I think I definitely enjoy it. And for me, it's a fun hobby. But if that hobby turns into more work one day, then I'm all for it.
Right. Did you ever see yourself ever at any point, being able to do this professionally, or is this just purely a hobby?
Honestly, honestly, I don't know. I think I originally started sort of doing it as a bit of a hobby, and then I think sort of as I went on, I definitely discovered that there was like a way to make some work out of this, like be it through commissions, be it through sort of like the typical influency sort of social media monetization, or just like being employed by a big company. And I just think like these days, I think the options like they're so much more broad than what they were. I think like the pathway into these jobs was maybe simpler in a way, whereas now it's like, well, actually, like you can just make your own stuff online. You could make your own IP, and I think with Blender and a lot of these like tools out there, especially Unreal Engine, for better or worse, I think it has allowed people to express things, but be it from franchises they love like Stargate, and Star Wars, or even try and make your own stuff. And there's so
Absolutely.
many like talented modelers out there too that I think it's almost overwhelming, isn't it? On like which direction do you take? So yeah, for me, I don't know. I'm still figuring it out.
There is an abundance of choice for sure.
Mm.
But this is a Stargate show. How
Yes,
long have
exactly.
you been a fan?
I honestly, since like day dot, like I mean, I was born in '92, and I think like Stargate, I think the funness of it, I think when I was younger, sort of captured me in, and I think sort of as a family, like we all sort of like love Stargate, and I think just the quantity of episodes and just like I think the fun of it, I think it has so much for everyone, and I think that's really hard to
Hmm.
like find in sci-fi these days. Like I think Christopher Judge said it in one of your interviews recently. Like it's just full of hope and it's fun, and I think a lot of sci-fi has become very doom and gloom. And as much as I like love like the Battlestar Galacticas of this world, I think Stargate filled a void in sci-fi we've not had in a long time. So I really do hope with it coming back, it sort of like finds those old roots again. Um, just for a bit of fun, a bit of hope. It can be serious, it can be thought provoking, it can be literally just action. And I think that's what Stargate I think did so well. Yeah. So as a fan, I think I've just always loved it, and I think yeah, it just captivated me, and it's definitely like one of those pillars that's really influenced like my work, and at least like what I do, sort of in terms of like space scenes and all that sort of stuff. Like yeah, it's a huge inspiration.
Well, I am thrilled to have come across you. I can't remember which one it was that I think it was Atlantis on the Water, where it was
Yeah.
like, I must have this.
Yeah, have it. You've got to.
And so
You've
I
got to.
reached out to you and I was like, can let's make a deal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, do
but
it.
I didn't, you take a chance on folks and it's like, are they going to respond? Are they not? Are
Yeah.
they going to promise something and then not deliver? And your output rate is just staggering. You're like a
Yeah.
duck to water, man.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
So let's take a look at something, well, quote unquote, simpler here.
Yeah.
Um, this is USS Voyager.
Yeah. Love that.
And how long would something like this, not render time, but in terms of
Yeah.
composition, how long does something like this take to compose?
I would say like it really depends. I think for me, I tend to sort of block out the idea first, so that might take like maybe like an hour, just sort of blocking out the idea and like how I want the shot to go. And I'll do a lot of like research on shots too. So like beforehand, I'll like be going through YouTube or like as I'm doing a rewatch, usually of TV shows, I get these ideas because I think
Mm,
like you get all this inspiration beforehand. So I say like an hour, 2 hours, like comping it out, and then I would say in terms of the asteroids and things like that. I mean, where I've kind of like learnt now to use like geometry nodes in Blender, that takes like I would say minutes to sort of set up, and I think literally
really?
most of the work. Yeah, honestly, like there's so many free assets now. Like in terms of like Blender Kit is one of them, and like Sketchfab, where like you can just like drag and drop these assets straight into Blender, and then all it really is a case of is like, well, where do I want it to move? How do I want it to look? How does the lighting go? Where do I want that planet? I think like with Blender, what I discovered, it's all the add-ons that make the work easier, and I'm sort of like sort of a big fan of things that kind of can save time, but in a way that's like good, if you know what I mean. Like it's sort of I still want to keep a certain quality, but I also want to save time when outputting a lot of stuff like this. So I think the add-ons for Blender really have like sped along my process. So I'd say in a good like 3 or 4 hours I can sort of get that done. Sort of much like the Atlantis one that I sort of did for you. Like I think like once
Mm.
I've got the assets and once I can sort of place it, then it really just is a case of like the camera and the sort of the color design and everything like that. Like, that's sort of I'd say the longer process, like the sound design and the post work.
Wow.
I'd say that probably takes longer for me.
The planet that's in this shot, is that
Yeah.
like a stock planet or do you have to design these things?
No, so basically, what you can do, which is a bit of a cheap and easy way, you can get like an image plane essentially, and you can make your own planets, and then stick that image plane essentially very large in the Blender scene, and it will just look like a normal planet. So there's this add-on for Blender called Custom Planet, and eventually, essentially, it's a bunch of like pre-made, like all designed planets, and essentially you can swap in and out and change, like say the cloud texture on top, how the planet looks, the color. Like you can even make your own and stick it into the file. So like this is where I mean, like with Blender, it can appear very difficult from the outset, and it is hard to start learning. That it is a steep learning curve, but I think once you sort of get a handle on the add-ons and how it all works, like there is just some like really great tools out there which you can pay for, which honestly, in terms of Blender and 3D stuff, it's not that bad. Like Unreal, I'd say, is probably more costly in how certain add-ons go, but with
I would
Blender, like the Planet
suspect.
especially, yeah, I mean, like, but with Blender, like, I don't know. I don't think it's a hot take, 'cause a lot of people say it, but I find Blender just looks better at its best. I think Unreal Engine has a look about it sometimes, but I still think it's good. It's still fantastic, but I think Blender as like a beginner, at least, I think you can really get on
Unreal
well with it.
is feels more like in-game,
Mm.
whereas Blender, at least to me, just looking at it, feels more like, cinematic gameplay footage.
I
Like
agree,
not
definitely. Yeah.
not in the not in not in the what am I trying to say? Like
All right.
it would
Okay.
go along with the game, but it wouldn't be in an in-game engine, is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
definitely. I think definitely Blender has like it's called Cycles, like the render engine. It just is so accurate to light. Like I think for any sort of like artwork you see that's 3D, like usually it's made in Blender. Like, Unreal can look fantastic, but yeah, I just think there's just something about Blender I just keep going back to, even though I sort of do
Mhm.
dabble in Unreal and have fun with it. Like yeah, but Blender's one of those programs I think I just feel like I get on with. So, for whatever
Exactly.
reason, I just enjoy it.
Well, when you find something and
Yeah,
it gives you what you want, there's no reason to there's
no,
don't fix what isn't broken.
exactly, exactly.
As long as you're getting what you want.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely. It's just very long to render though on Blender. That is the only caveat. I'd say like that Voyager scene. I mean, in 4K, that probably took like 4 or 5 hours to render. Wherever if that was Unreal, that's like done in minutes. So
wow.
yeah, there's
Okay.
a big difference. I mean, like definitely in Unreal, it can take longer if you do it sort of properly as such. But Unreal's real-time engine is, that's why a lot of people use it. It's so much quicker to chuck out a really high quality piece for socials. I mean, if you've got like a 20-second video you want to do, honestly, you could chuck so many out in a day with Unreal, and I think that's why Unreal's become such a powerful tool, especially in industry too. I think it's lowered costs maybe and time, which is money. So yeah, there's definitely positives to all these tools, but I wouldn't ever say like I'm one or the other. I think there's a tool in a toolbox, and I think it's important to learn as many tools as you got really, and I think that's definitely what I've learned
Absolutely.
in the process. Like, don't get too stuck in your lane. If it works, it works, but definitely like if you can expand and try something new, do
That
it.
yeah, that's the other side
Mm.
of this for sure. Let's take a look at let's take a look at Star Wars. So this is Valiant class firepower at the Battle of Coruscant.
Yes.
So these are obviously character models. Now,
Yeah.
um, is this all you, or did you do this with help?
So I did this with Quantum Biscuit, who's on Instagram. He goes by Joe Wiltshire, I think it is, on YouTube. And essentially like he's just a really talented 3D modeler. And I sort of went to him like with this idea, like, oh hey dude, like I really just want like an internal shot like from Revenge of the Sith. Like, is that something you can
Mm-hmm.
do? And he was like, yeah, yeah, sure, man, I'll give it a go. And then literally within, I think it was like 2 days or like 3 days, he just came back with like this model of the interior. I was like, wow, this is like amazing. Like, how did you do this in 2 days? And yeah, the guy just has such an efficient like process. And yeah, he sort of did the models for me, did a bit of the animation, and then I sort of sorted out the scene and sort of the post. And sort of the plan with this is to sort of like make something a little bit larger in the year, like with a few other creators. So it's still in like early phases, but it's definitely like on my list. And also in that video there's a Valiant Star Destroyer. So that's the bigger one that jumps in just after this shot, which I really love actually. And yeah, when this one jumps in, where is it? Yeah, there.
How?
Yes, that
Wow.
guy. That was done by Eve Canada, I think his name is, and he's like
Okay.
another really talented 3D modeler. And I actually gave him a PC because
Wow.
he was like, yeah, I don't know, it sounds bizarre, but like he was creating a lot of stuff like for Battlestar Galactica and other things on basically like a potato. And I sort of like found out through
Ah.
someone that he was doing it. I was like, dude, like you can have my old PC, like just like make me some 3D models or something, like it just
Yeah,
whatever.
make it work, dude.
Yeah, and like we sent it off to him, and then that was sort of like my payment, I guess, for the PC. So like I was, yeah, quite grateful for that. So I was happy to get rid of an old PC and also gain a really cool model and a printer. So that was a
Jeez.
really good deal, actually. I sort of really enjoyed that one. But
Well,
yeah,
that
no,
planet is having a bad day down there in the
100%. Yeah, but
wind.
that's the same planet add-on, actually, like I was talking about
Wow.
earlier. So, I was saying about you can basically texture on different bits, like on the bottom there. Like it has like different options for like say like fire on the surface and stuff. And because
Mm-hmm.
it's an image plane, it makes it a lot easier to render. Whereas I think like sometimes like a lot of people they overcomplicate the scene. Like, I used to do it. And I used to think, well, if I need a planet, I need like a proper 3D mesh like planet.
Mm-hmm.
And like these things really slow up your scene and make it harder, like to I think get bigger scenes done. So I've kind of got better, still learning, but I mean I've got better at simplifying scenes down and only really putting in the shot like what you see and trying to sort of like I guess trick certain bits like with the planet add-ons and things because it's a really high quality like planet. You wouldn't know, I'll be honest, like watching it or care probably whether that's a 3D mesh or not. If it looks good, then that's I think what the audience mostly likes.
If it's pulling off the job, if it's pulling off what you need.
Yeah,
Oh, there's a Mercury class right there.
yeah,
Um,
that was oh what was that one? That's one that's not finished yet by I think the same guys. It's 3D sci-fi, but Eve works for them or does some stuff for them. That's about Stargate I think that they're making still, but I used it in this
okay.
shot just as a bit of a
Well, it is in dry dock,
bit of a
so
fun one. Yeah, it's in dry. It's
it's under
it's still
construction.
working. I
That's
can't
it,
remember the name
man.
of it though.
That's
Yeah,
so cool. One more Star Wars, and then we're gonna get into Stargate here.
yeah, let's go.
Um,
Yeah, this one
this
was like
is
really dynamic. I mean, I really sort of pushed myself a bit on this one, and it was Hartwell Design as well who helped do some of the environment on this one, so sort of like really
okay.
leveled it up. But yeah, all the animation and stuff. That's all me.
Very cool, man. Well done. So you heard that Stargate was coming back,
Yep.
and you just had to go for it. What was your first
Definitely.
idea
Oh,
to
that's a
create
hard.
this? Not what was your first idea of SG4, but what was your first idea like in terms of I have to I want to express myself in this fashion.
one. In Stargate. I think it was honestly like it was mostly Atlantis, I think, for me. Like I really love SG1, and that was the first. But I think Atlantis came along when I was like a little bit older, and I think
Hmm.
like for me, the ancient storyline always captivated me. I just always loved the ancients and how it was all like woven into that large story for SG1 into Atlantis and then Destiny. And so I think for me, like the first thing I wanted to do was a Destiny shot, and that
Mm.
took a little while to come together on the page. Like I think it was a real struggle to find a good model for that. But I did manage to find one, and I think for me, like I just really wanted to sort of like make like a nice Destiny flyby or like recharging in the star, like that. That was kind of like the initial thing for me. As much as like Atlantis was like my favorite, I'd say show overall. I really just there was something about Destiny that I like the look of. It ticked a lot of boxes for me. It
It's
may
my
have,
favorite,
yeah.
unapologetically.
Yeah, I think Destiny it just captured me, and I think because I'm such a big Ancients fan, I guess like it really like ticked a lot of boxes, and I think they tried to sort of go down that sort of Battlestar Galactica kind of vibe, and I liked it. I think season two really did kick up quite nicely, and yeah, it's a real shame we
Hmm.
didn't get a finalization of it. I do hope that we get some resolution to what happened, um, but yeah, I think the show maybe it came around in the wrong time for the studios, maybe, but I do believe that that show got very good, and I think that if carried on, I think that would have been one of the best, honestly.
There was a lot happening there. The studio
Yeah,
wasn't having a good time with the studio. So there's
no,
just there's a lot to unpack.
yeah,
But I love the atmosphere of this star that you have against this
yeah.
ship. Have you seen Sunshine?
Yes, I have. That actually
It
was,
reminds me a
believe
lot
it
of
or not.
that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad it actually came off because that was actually like part inspiration. Because Sunshine, unironically, it was one of my favorite films for a long time. I haven't seen it in a long time, but it was one of my favorite films. And I think yeah, Destiny just the whole show sort of captured into that bit of me that really loves Sunshine. It was a weird connection. So I'm glad that actually came through because that was partly the inspiration
Well,
for
you
some
don't
of this.
normally see clouds
No,
in proximity to a star, but
no.
I that's one of the elements of Sunshine that I always took away with me is like you can get away with all kinds of things. It's on
Oh
fire,
yeah,
so it's smoke,
exactly.
but
Well,
there's no
exactly.
air. So hey,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
look, there's sound in space. damn it. You have to
There is
pick one. So,
100%.
that's just all
Yeah,
there is to it.
definitely. No, there is sound in space. I
Yeah.
think you can't have no sound because it doesn't make sense. I mean, as much as it makes sense not to have sound, I think you have
Well,
to
that's
for
just
the
it.
atmosphere because otherwise the shot doesn't look right. I mean, if you if you watch scenes with no sound on in space, it doesn't make sense. That's why they have those like loud sort of like booms and I think Battlestar Galactica again like that sort of did a really good job. I think with sound design in space. Honestly, I think they nailed the compromise.
I think Joel probably would have dug it, to be perfectly honest.
Mm.
But man, this we've got some major eye candy for this ship right here.
Oh yeah, I
So,
mean this model's so cool.
man, so all of these are just free.
Yeah, so this is on 3D Warehouse. It's an old model, but like I found it basically untextured, and
Okay.
I think the guy's Pierre who does it.
Okay.
I can't remember. I think it's Pierre, and yeah, it was a free 3D model on a 3D Warehouse, and I basically imported it into Blender, and
Okay.
I said to myself, right, I'm going to texture this. So I hadn't really textured anything properly before, and I'm sure good 3D modelers and texturers will probably see some imperfections in here, but yeah, I just had a good go at trying to create the Destiny, and it was a fun little like learning curve, but also like a nice little project. And I think that's what I treat a lot of these as. Like they're sort of like just fun little learning projects for me, like rather than some big overarching thing. But this shot was one where I tried to at least cut in my shots because a lot of people like sort of tell me that I do very long-winded like running shots, which is true. And I tried at least with this one to make it a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more interesting, like just try things out and yeah, just see where it goes, see what the feedback is. And I'm always pretty open with feedback too. Like it doesn't bother me. I think some people like aren't a big fan of feedback, but I quite enjoy it.
Well,
So
uh,
if you've got good
yeah,
feedback, I'm happy
you're
for it.
not perfect, and if you think that
No,
you're perfect, you're wrong. So,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I definitely enjoy just throwing these out there and honestly just seeing like what people's opinions are on it and then just sort of going from that and yeah, just trying to improve, I think, bit by bit, sort of like that sort of iterative process.
for sure, exactly.
Yeah, no, I really
Let's
love this model. It's so cool.
let's have a look at something a little more close to home.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Oops,
I love that
no
ship.
sound.
It's a really fun looking ship.
That's it. And they've actually in this one they've fully rendered the Earth symbols on the side, whereas it's just
Yeah.
implied in the
Yes. Yeah, this was
in the
done by
actual design.
who was this done by? It was done by 3D Sci-Fi. So they're the guys who do like a lot of free models and things. And they did this one with 8K texture. So the actual like mesh
Wow.
is a lower poly, so like it's quite nice for scenes, but the texture they did like a really good job on. So like the light is like rendered in on there and stuff. So like it's a really cool model to use for stuff like this because I can like render out things a bit quicker. Oh yeah, and this one, God, yeah. I did. This was one of the first Stargates I tried to make. So I was trying to make the wormhole effect.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Oh,
can
the
see where
puddle.
like yeah, the puddle. Sorry, yeah. So the puddle I was trying to make
Mm-hmm.
like the wave effect,
It's
and
raining on it.
yeah, it's raining, so it didn't kind of work how I wanted it to.
No, no,
This
it's
one, but
cool. It's a
it was
cool
different. It was
effect.
different.
Oh my, look at this.
Oh yeah, that's an early one too.
It's
Yeah,
all
I've got
right.
better now. No, it's all right. I don't mind. I quite like seeing like all these older ones as well. So I don't really go look
Absolutely.
back at them too much.
It's really, really cold on Atlantis. It froze over.
Yeah, completely. Oh,
Or
God, yeah.
Atlantia.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Man,
Oh yeah,
wow.
this was the
You're
first
just
Destiny
trying your
right
hand
here.
at everything here.
Yeah, honestly, that's how I am really. I mean, there is a method to my madness. Like I sort of like if I get an idea, I'm like, just a big believer of right, just go do it. Like it doesn't have to be like perfect. Like it can be a bit rough and ready. Like just see how it goes. Like see what people think about it. You get good feedback. I feel from that. And yeah, I just try out things with this. Like I tried some volumetric rays on this. I thought, yeah, they look all right, but I sort of didn't really go back. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. I really do just try anything.
That's it, man.
Yeah,
Lantean Aurora-Class Battleship.
oh, I love this one. I think like when I first saw this ship in the show, like it just captivated me. I love the design of it. I think
Really?
some honestly, I think some people
Can't
love or hate it.
stand it.
I know it's so much like Marmite. I know, but I loved it, and I don't know. There's something about that design and that era. I just love it, and I wish we got more. I know a lot of people probably
Oh yeah.
disagree, but I wish we got
Yeah.
more like of that because I think we only really ever saw like through the replicator arc. I think it was like some like destroyer looking ones, but never anything like major. I'd say like just that one was like the one we saw, and then that was it.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I
So
just
is this
like
a repeat of the
yeah, I think that's a repeat. I do
previous
tend
shot?
to
Okay.
sometimes try and do that. Oh
No,
yeah, and then
no,
I think at the end,
don't excuse yourself. It's just
I
yeah.
think I think at the end I put the guy who made that model. I mean, yeah, it'd be great if that guy's in your your audience. Yeah, David,
Absolutely.
David SD, and yeah, it, it was a great model.
Okay. Man,
But
that's
that
very
was
cool,
quite an old
man.
one. I think that was like 2007. That model, I think.
Really? Okay.
Honestly, old model that one. So yeah, and it's got a whole
Awesome.
bridge interior and everything. So
That's
yeah,
just legit. Okay.
yeah,
Now this, I
I
think
like this
this
one.
is it? Yes, this is the one that uh like clinched it for me. It was like, okay, I got to reach out to this guy and see.
Yeah,
Um, this
is this
is
the one where I put the
just.
shield up? I think this is the one where the shield goes up, and I can't
Oh, okay,
remember.
then maybe it's not.
Oh, it is this one. No, no, it is this one. No, no, I think I did two. I did one
Okay.
before this. I think that's on Instagram. I don't think I uploaded that one. Like that has a higher quality ocean. Whereas with this
Okay.
one, because I tried to do the shield and the ship, this is where the scene got a bit heavy. So,
I
so
see.
I had to.
Wow, look at that.
So I was
That's awesome.
trying
I've
to
not seen
figure out the
this.
shield. Yeah, I tried to figure out a shield. I still need to work out a good shield.
That's
Oh
what
yeah,
I've seen. This
that
is what
one.
I've seen right here.
This one.
Atlantis. That's it. Terra
Yes.
Atlantis.
Yeah, I wanted to do a little. I mean, I still need to go back to it really, but I wanted to do like a little a thing like that where like I do like stills of like locations. I think similar to like what we were doing with the intros, and then do like a little factoid like underneath because I think there's going to be so many like people discovering Stargate. I feel with all this like new announcement, and I think sort of with Jason Momoa, oddly, I think a lot of people are discovering Atlantis through him.
Mm-hmm.
And I've definitely noticed like a big peak in interest with Atlantis at least. Um, so yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's an
Jason
interesting
Momoa. Who
time.
is that guy? I can't imagine
Yeah,
why. Yeah.
yeah, why that? Yeah, the guy obviously he brings in the audiences, and yeah, I just it's
That's
just
it.
nice that people are starting to discover all these old shows that really still stand up today,
That
like
was
really
cool.
well. Yes, that model was awesome. Oh yeah,
Ah, look at that.
yeah. So this
Wow.
interior, I don't quite remember where this interior came from. I think it was Colton who textured it, but I think the actual base mesh was someone else. I can't remember who. He told me I can't remember his name, but yeah, no, a guy
Interesting.
called Colton. I found on Twitter, believe it or not. I just
Okay.
remember when the what do you call it when the announcement happened. I just saw in the comments like this guy shared some interiors of Atlantis. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool! Like, and
Yeah.
uh, and yeah, just thought I'd have a go and yeah, see where that goes. And that was in Blender. I think this one was in Blender. Yeah, that was in Blender.
I always wondered where she landed. Like
Yeah,
there was a section, there was a strut between a couple of the piers. I always just assumed that it landed on there. We only had one shot of it
yeah,
from
it
the
was really
Siege
hard.
Part 3. They
Yeah,
just reused it again and again.
yeah, yeah. I was
But
hard. It was hard to try and scale it up because, like, when you
oh,
like scale it
really?
up, what it looks like. Yeah, so like, I did a bit of research on it, and like, when I was trying to scale up the ship and like try and work out where it parks, like, when you look at it from certain angles, it doesn't look right, and I was just
Right.
like, like
It's like they
this
were
feels
faking
off.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that maybe there was some truth to that, or maybe it was just like the the camera lens, like maybe it was like a bit wide and it looked maybe appeared to be bigger than what it was. But yeah, no, I
Hmm.
mean, I definitely rethought that scene when I sort of discovered it didn't kind of fit. Or maybe it's just
That's
me
cool
not
stuff, man.
scaling it right, which probably is more likely the case.
No. Let's look at the Wraith.
Yes.
Let's check these guys out.
Oh, I
So
forgot about that
this
one. Yeah.
is a pretty impressive Hive ship.
Yeah, so that was, believe it or not, a 3D print model from oh God, who's the guy? Oh, it's on printables, and basically I just found on there like this Wraith Hive ship, and I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. So I sort of took it upon myself to learn some texturing again, and I used this as a bit of a test bed for learning to texture. So like I feel I could
Wow.
probably improve that a bit more. It's a bit too scattered, but I mean I really just wanted to use this as an example for texturing because I sort of yeah I'm still learning really how to do that properly and sort of like adding all the lights in like where it goes. So it's not perfect by any means, but in a darker environment, I think I pulled off kind of the shot I was after, and all the darts then coming out. That was
There's quite a
a
few
heavy
of them.
task. Yeah, that was a heavy task on the computer, that one. But I really wanted to like show the scale off. So like I really wanted that kind of like large high ship, lots of little
Exactly.
darts, and then as it
There's
like
what,
pans
500
around.
darts in this shot?
Oh yeah, like way too many probably for that ship. But
I
like
don't
it's just
know.
I just
Hey,
loved that scale.
I was gonna say mouths need feeding, but hands.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
Maybe hands and freedom, definitely. Or maybe there was.
oh gosh,
I actually don't know how many darts there are in a hive ship. That's something I probably should have looked up before.
that's a great question for sure.
I have to look it up.
So,
Yeah, no, I just literally if I get an idea, it just comes out, and I usually like rewatch like the shows, and then the ideas come along with that usually. So every time I do a bit of a rewatch, sort of like once a year, I tend to like go through the series again. I honestly just chuck things out as they come to me, or like I'll write down an idea like in my phone, and then I'll come back to it later on in the evening and just sort of try and like hash out the idea, and then maybe reach
mm,
out to people and see if they want to like collaborate on things or like create some things. And yeah, honestly, the whole process for me is pretty much just like, oh, I've got this idea, like let's go. Sort of like you sort of come to me like with an idea, I say, okay, yeah, I'll see if I can make it happen, and then I'll go and try and figure out the idea, get it done, bang, it's out. And that's kind of like how I've always done things with socials. So yeah, I think I found a nice like lane in
well, one
in
of the
how to
last
do
things
it.
that you got here that I thought was really cool
Oh yeah, this one.
is this mountaintop.
Yeah, I really thought it'd be cool to have a Stargate on top of a mountain, but then like a lot of the comments were like, "Why is it there?" And I was like, you know what? No
Because
idea. Just because that is honestly my idea. I thought it looked
yeah,
cool. Like
it
I
looks
think
kind of contrived. Well, it's contrived because I contrived it.
yeah, it
My
literally it's only
guests told
there.
me that once. It's like, well, that makes actually that's very reasonable.
Yeah,
So,
I just said to myself like I had never seen a Stargate on top of a mountain before. I was just like, it looks cool. Like it just I don't know.
that's right.
Yeah, I think it came from because I rewatched that episode where they talk about oh, what is it in Lord of the Rings when the fire is
Oh, the
set.
lighting of the beacons. Yeah,
Yeah, like the bees, and I think the doctor. Oh, I can't remember his name now. The doctor guy. Oh my God, it's coming out of my head. What's his name?
the Doctor.
He's the scientist in SG-1 in the later seasons. Oh, what's his name?
The later seasons of SG-1.
Yeah, he's sort of
Scientist. Dr. Lee. Oh, you're talking.
Doctor
Yeah. Oh,
Lee.
my kids love it. Yeah, yeah. The Twilight Bark. Yeah,
That's it. And I think
yeah.
there's
He
an
was
episode where it
referenced.
goes
That
on
was
about
in Critical Mass.
that's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yes, and
Technically
that's honestly
Atlantis.
that was basically the idea for that shot. Believe it or not, it was just literally hearing that scene, going, "Oh, that's funny. Oh, I've got an idea," and I just went and did it. That was honestly where that came from.
Hello, Asgard.
Yes, yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah,
Scale.
that's really cool.
I do like scale. I think that's sort of the one thing I really enjoy. Like sort of just yeah.
This is how massive this is.
I really enjoy showing that. I think Destiny did a really good job in the show of portraying that too.
Absolutely. All right. It really wants us to watch this, so let's watch the Defiant returns.
Oh God, this one. Yeah, I sort of
What's
just
the
had an idea.
flicker? What's about that? Is that
Well,
just
that yeah. So basically, on the mesh, because
having power problems? Chief O'Brien is having a real difficult time.
it's power problems. I mean, I think that model, like I just found with the mesh, it wasn't too good, and I think the
Okay.
textures on it, for whatever reason, like they just weren't playing nice, and it took a lot of going to try and get that to work. So yeah, I need to probably just retexture that model and sort of start again. But yeah, this one, I was trying to sort out a big fleet. And I think I did this
Oh
all wrong,
yeah.
like this one. I definitely like the cameras all over the place on this one. But like basically, where I was doing the fleet in this one, I was like copying every object, and that sort of was a bit of a cardinal mistake because like when you're copying every object, you're adding more like polygons basically to your scene.
Oh wow.
And sort of for this one, it took a long time to render, but then as I so sort of found out after, you don't have to copy things like that. You can just sort of, I guess, copy it but not add to the scene, if that makes sense. Like you sort of
It
copy
does not, but
the
I
image.
assume that you know. I mean,
Yeah.
there's I'm guessing a way to duplicate the ships without duplicating the workload.
Yes, literally, and that's how like you get these bigger scenes in like TV shows or anything. Like they don't just like copy each object necessarily. Like there's a bit of internal trickery, I guess. And I think like with me, that was probably a good example of just like me learning on the go. Like I just go and create something and I made a mistake and I go, oh, cool, I've learned from this. And yeah, I think like my biggest takeaway from probably the last 6 years of diving into 3D stuff more is that I think you just have to go and make mistakes. You just have to go and try. You know, don't think you're going to be like the best from day dot. And I think there's lots of pressures these days, especially with social media and people wanting likes and views. And maybe not getting them, and it's like, well, there's so many good people out there who don't get maybe lots of likes and views, and they're fantastic artists. So yeah, just like go out there, give it a go, and in time it will come together. And I think that's sort of my biggest takeaway with socials. Just go have fun with it. That's got to be number one.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to
You know,
have a good time. Otherwise, it's just not worth
just
doing. If
work.
you're going out there
Yeah,
expecting to launch the next big thing in the world,
yeah. But it's all good to
the
have like
wrong
confidence.
reasons behind the root of it. So
Definitely, definitely. I think it's good to have confidence in yourself, and I think it's really good to, see where you're going and like definitely like sort of be positive with yourself. But then yeah, definitely too like just to give yourself time to learn. Like you
that's
see
it.
someone's success, but you don't see the 20 years prior. It's a lot that comes with the success. I think too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Simon Sinek once said, and I've used this analogy at least once. You're
Mm.
at the foot of the mountain, you see the top, and the summit, and a lot of people, what they're just missing is the mountain. Like you have to climb it. You have to
Definitely, it's
start
all a journey.
somewhere. Find
It's the
your
journey.
process. That's it. It is the journey.
Yeah,
That's it, man.
honestly, I think it's why like the earlier stuff sometimes like when I was creating stuff, like I went through this time where the earlier stuff was like doing really well, and then I think as we all get sort of in creating, like sometimes there's a lull, and then I think in that lull, I think that's when you learn, or definitely, I think, solidify what it is that worked at the start. And I think it's that passion, and it didn't necessarily have to be the best thing since sliced bread, but you was putting in that passion. And I think when you get that lull, I think sometimes that's like a
That's it.
sign of like maybe you're trying too hard, or maybe like you're just trying to do something you think others want to see. And I think definitely for
Hmm.
me, like once I learn in that lull, like, oh, okay, let me try some different things. Like let's do some Stargate stuff. Let's do some Star Trek stuff. Like after a while, like that started gaining a bit more traction, and that came because I was passionate about it, and
That's
it came
it.
through. And I think yeah, definitely like sort of definitely being diverse, but sticking to things that you enjoy, and you do it because you enjoy it. Like Stargate, it just really worked for me, and I think moving forwards, like with Stargate and stuff, I'm just really excited that there's a new show on the horizon. And yeah, I think with the old team, it seems they're on the case. Like I'm quietly confident. I think it's going to be good. I think we're seeing a change in TV, and I think Stargate will be, I think, one of the starts of sort of TV maybe finding some of what used to make it work. If you know what I mean? Like we're not going to get 20 episodes ever again. I don't think. I think I'd be naive to think
No,
I'm going to get
that's
20
over.
episodes.
And I'm not
Oh,
sure I
that's
want
over.
them. A lot of people are going to disagree with
Yeah.
that, but I mean,
Yeah.
I would prefer quality over quantity.
Yeah, I think I agree.
And
I think Foundation did that quite well, actually.
oh, it
In
did.
fairness.
Okay. I've
Well, I
not
mean, yeah,
actually,
I think
I've seen the first
well,
episode, but yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I think like I think hour long, 10 episodes, like 11 episodes. I think like in today's environment, like you said, I think that's a good like compromise. I
Full
think yeah,
hour, not 42-minute crap.
yes. Oh yes,
None
no,
of
I've got to have a
that.
full hour. Got to have a full hour, please. I can't be
That's
dealing with
it.
the 40 minutes, 30-minute episodes, and it's like that's not really an episode. But
No,
yeah,
exactly right.
I just really hope that we do get like a nice consolidated story in 10 episodes because I think a lot of the filler episodes and it's not a negative like I think filler episodes really filled a role. I think for character like progression and really like delving into things like I think like a lot of the episodes we love maybe from Stargate and other shows it's usually those little ones that were like in a closet or just like in a room. I like sort of like Rodney in the back of the jumper. Like honestly that was one of my favorite episodes. I thought it
That's
was really
exactly
fun.
right.
you
And
know
I think it depends on what you mean by filler.
yeah
If you're
yeah.
meaning something away from the primary uh, plot of the overarching
Yeah,
mythology,
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah,
necessarily mean that it has to be. Well, I want to know what's happening with the Wraith, or this is irrelevant, or this replicator
yeah,
thing over here is happening.
yeah,
You can have McKay in the back of a jumper at the
yeah,
bottom of the Lantean Ocean and
yeah.
have it be
Good,
fascinating. And
exactly. Yeah.
to me, that's not filler.
No,
To
it's true. Fair.
me,
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
filler is I can't even remember the name of it. There's a episode in Galactica where it's just following Adama's day, and he's trying to
Yeah.
remember who's on post at what time. And I'm thinking to myself, it's
Yeah.
Edward James Olmos, and I'm bored.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah. True.
they had too many episodes at a certain
Yeah,
point. There
that's
was
fair.
just a tighter show when it was 14 in season 1, and
True. That's
I
true.
think the quality of it suffered slightly for that.
Okay,
But
that's fair. Actually, yeah, I'll take that. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I agree. actually. I
There
think
you
yeah,
go.
I think having a shorter amount actually does then focus them in on the quality more. And I guess when you've got that big canvas of 25, then you can sort of go a bit crazy on certain
That's
episodes
it.
that maybe actually is a detractor. Because I think at the time that was a complaint of some stuff, wasn't it? Especially in
Hmm.
Trek. I think, there was some episodes that people were like, I don't like this, but I've got a new one tomorrow, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like I think like in some ways, I guess it was positive that they had more to try, but then on a negative, I guess if it did detract and not do too well, then yeah, it did maybe put some people off. And I guess in today's like era of social media and instant opinions, a bad episode can sometimes, I guess, cause some bad feeling across social
It can
media.
sink
You know, yeah,
a project,
yeah, I
absolutely.
see it a lot these days. I think for me that's like the biggest. I don't say worry, but I think like for the show or for the new Stargate show to navigate, I'll be interested. I'll be interested to see how they navigate their social media and how they do the communication for the show because I think TV programs are trying to navigate that more and more. And I think I can sort of see like different approaches. Like some just don't talk about it. Some
Hmm.
are very defensive. The show, which they should be. It's their show. They can defend and say what they wish. But I think
If
sometimes when you get
yeah,
too much animosity, I think that sometimes is a detractor. I think it's always good to defend your show, but I think sometimes you just adding fuel to the fire of people that maybe never want to love it. It's I think you can never please everyone, and yeah, it's a tough balance. I definitely don't. I definitely feel for these people having to make these decisions because it's not easy.
well, you've got to pick something. Just don't
Yeah.
poison the
Mm,
well of the audience who's drinking from it. Just
exactly. Exactly.
do
I agree. I
if
think
you're
we've all got to.
trying to manipulate the audience into showing favor to something that
Yes.
they wouldn't necessarily, then that's one thing. Like if you're approaching them in bad faith, they're gonna
Yeah.
feel it.
It
And
definitely. I
but
agree.
if you're creating something that's like, look, I want to be entertaining, I want I believe in this IP for what it is and not for what I
Yeah.
want it to be, uh,
Mm,
it's going to be much harder for you to fail. So,
definitely. I agree. And I think this is what like I've been quite quietly optimistic with like the Stargate sort of updates. Like they feel very positive, and I think that's what I'm seeing like through interviews and like the
mm,
initial launch. Like I just it felt positive. It felt like you're talking
mm,
to the fans of the show who have been there sort of, from day dot and sort of being honest about kind of like where they want to go with it. And they obviously do want a new audience too. And shows need new audiences. Like I think it would be silly to think they can't, but I think they can still respect the older audiences too. And I think if they find that balance. I honestly do believe. I think Stargate's going to be a really good show. I don't think that about a lot of things, but I think it's going to be good. I just have a good feeling about it.
yep. Battlestar did
Yeah.
it extraordinarily well. There were a
Mm.
lot of folks who were like, "You cannot do this.
Yes, I remember that.
It's
Yeah.
not happening." And the same thing happened with Next Gen in the '80s. And
Yeah.
before you knew it, 2 or 3 years go by, and people were like, "I think this one's better than the first."
I remember that with
And
Battlestar.
now it's just
Yeah.
accepted,
Yeah.
that that's the case for those. There's no one who was born after the original Galactica came out who
Yeah.
next to no one who don't think that the original there's no one who
Yeah.
think that the original exceeds the
Yeah.
Romulans or
It's a different beast, isn't it? It's a different beast, and I think Battlestar is a perfect example. Actually, there's been a few like interviews with the actors on it, and I think like when they
hmm
first dropped it, I think there was such a bad reaction like at the cons and
hmm
things that like they all just kind of thought, oh God, this is going to be terrible. Like you've made Starbuck a woman and all this sort of thing, and actually, as you said, everyone loves the new show. Like everyone
this one
loves the
has
old
its
one
own
too.
story
Don't
to
get me wrong,
tell.
but they're
Yeah,
different. They're different
I
shows.
don't care for the old one.
No,
I'm perfectly willing
that's
to go
fair.
out there and say, yeah, I'll swing in the
Fair.
wind and say no, I don't like it.
That's
It's
fair. That's
it
fair. I don't
is
blame you.
it is a Star Wars product for
It is.
television by
It is.
ILM. What they were able to pull off on that budget was extraordinary.
Yeah, it has a
Especially
charm.
when you can reverse the like mirror the image, and all of a sudden you have twice the shots of the ships. But
It's good. It's good.
whatever.
I
So
definitely, I agree. I think like I go and rewatch the new Battlestar because I like it. I haven't rewatched the old one, so I mean, I think that says a lot as well, doesn't it? We can see where things came from, but yeah, I think the new one just told its story,
that's
and I
it,
think,
and it's a complete
yeah, I think
story.
definitely, and I think for better or worse, how it ended, like I think it did a pretty good job for what it set out to do.
Hmm.
I think like with Stargate, I think Stargate in general really did set out and told the stories it wanted to do, apart from Destiny, obviously, which kind of got canned, I feel, unfairly.
It
But
did. Yeah.
I just really do hope, like back on Destiny, that they do tell that story again, and we
Me
do
too,
get a bit
man.
of conclusion on what happens. But I think I'm keeping my expectations realistic for the first season of this new show because I don't think in this first season they can answer every question, but I definitely do hope that they can make the first season a success to at least build on what made the original SG-1 great. And then enable them to do like Atlantis type shows where they can maybe go and do their own thing. I
I
hope that happens.
agree. I'm interested to see what their plan is in terms of, because I do believe that it must be 51% new, bare minimum.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
I'll say
also do think that there are going to be elements in there from the past that are going to be folded into this
yeah.
that we're just not going to see coming. At least that's what I
Mm.
hope,
Yeah, I think so.
because
I think I agree.
that's just good storytelling.
Agreed,
There's certain
agreed.
things
I
that's like
think
I
I
did
think
not see that one coming, and I know something about that, and it endears you to the new thing even more. I think that's one of the things
exactly.
that did that TNG Picard season 3 did exceptionally well.
Yep.
They pulled other. I mean, oh my God, it's the Borg again.
Yeah.
But there was so much of that that's like, wow, they brought back Ro and they didn't just throw her away.
Exactly. And I think
There was a
that's like
point to it.
definitely, I think like that was a good that's a good blueprint for me on how to do nostalgia well. Because I think nostalgia is something that it has to be used in the right way. I think it has to make sense. And I think with
Hmm.
Picard season 3, whatever, the people think of the whole, I do think, like you say, season 3 was just a good season. I
Hmm.
think as a season of the next generation, like I sort of see it as, it did
I
a
do.
really good
I think
job.
I see it as season 8 of Next Gen.
That's how I see it. And I think like for a lot of fans, I think we all see that too. And I think
Hmm.
that if that's the blueprint that they can kind of like give into Stargate, at least somehow, and make the nostalgia
Hmm.
work, but also allow those new characters to breathe a bit too. Because
Hmm.
I certainly don't want new characters to not feel like, they're not
You have
important as such.
you have to give them time.
Yeah,
You have
exactly.
to give them opportunities to show their humanity.
Mm,
They
definitely.
can't they have to be. You can't make them impenetrable. Otherwise,
No.
it's just like I don't relate to that person at all. You
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
to transpose your humanity onto them in some
Yeah.
fashion by
Yeah.
watching how they react to a situation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just opaque, and you can't. You have to find a way to the writer has
Mm,
to find a way to allow the audience to connect to at least
yeah.
one character that they can follow. So,
Yeah, definitely. And I think Stargate has always I think done that quite well. Like I think like even like with Rodney, like they managed to make Rodney like one of my favorite characters towards the end of Atlantis. I think at the start of it, I was thinking like, oh, I'm not going to like this character, and then as time went on, I was like, oh, actually, I really love this
had you
character.
seen
And
48 Hours in Redemption from SG1
uh,
at that point?
yes, yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I
So you're
believe
like
it did. Yeah,
in terms of like him growing on you, you weren't sure if yeah.
yeah, and I weren't too sure, and I think like even like Cam in SG1, like I weren't too sure
Hmm.
at the start, like is this going to work? And you know what? As time went on, I was like, this is actually working really well. Like I think Cam and Vala added I feel anyway, a good dynamic to that SG1 era, and I think like how they did that, I felt was very well placed. Like they still kept that old SG1 feel, but they did make it new. And I think they had their
Hmm.
own stamp on it, but with the same sort of tropes maybe as we saw before, but like in a good way. And
That's it.
yeah, I just hope that they can find their feet in the new series, much like they did in the old. And yeah, I'm just really interested how they're going to do it. Like, is it going to be from the SGC? Is it going to be totally different? Like, is it still a secret? How have things moved on? Because it's been a while now, really, in terms of time. So yeah, I just honestly, I think I don't really have any idea of what they're going to do, which is kind of nice, actually. Like I'm
That's it.
completely fresh on it. I have no theories whatsoever on what's going to happen or how they're going to do it.
James, what are you going to do next in terms of Stargate visuals? What's
Started visuals. What's
over
next
the horizon
for
or through
me?
the
Ooh.
clouds, as it
Well, we
were?
have got through the clouds. I mean, yeah. Well, I've certainly got the darts coming through the clouds and going to Atlantis, so that should be out
So
probably by the
Siege
end of the
Part
week.
2.
Siege Part 2, so that should be by the end of the week.
Okay.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm trying to work out how to do the flares and like a close up of the city. and sort of keeping the clouds look good. Because like
So
with that's right.
for the
No.
record, I've asked James to reproduce. So he's already done Dakara for us. It's the first episode that he did the opening and the ending for was Christopher Judge Part 3.
Yeah.
And Joe Flanagan was a combination of Bryce Orrs, Ibreck, and James Young, Venture Pictures. But this next one is going to be for an Atlantis cast member. And I asked for a, a sequence from, or two sequences from the Siege Part 2,
Yeah.
two shots, and one of them is let's follow the perspective of the darts as they come into the atmosphere to attack
Yeah.
Atlantis. So we're flying in formation with them, and
Yeah.
the end of the shot is the flares launch and all hell breaks loose. And then there is a shot for the end credits that I would love to use, which is we're like on a like we're not on the ground level of one of the piers, but we're like kind of in mid upper levels with a lot of the struts diagonally shooting over the head, and you've got the clouds getting hit with light from the rail guns and the
Yeah.
darts flying through. It's a stationary shot that I just love from
Mm.
Siege Part
Yeah, it's
2.
pretty
I'm
good, that
getting
one.
goosebumps just thinking about it, and
Yeah.
you're going
Yeah.
to see about bringing those elements to life.
I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to. I mean, that's definitely like one that's been on my back burner for a while. So it was interesting that you asked for that one because it's been one I've been trying to figure out how to do and do it justice. Because in 3D, like the volumetrics, so like the clouds and things like that can be sometimes a challenge in scenes to make them look good because that's sort of where a lot of your GPU power's going.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely like learning to make my volumetrics a little bit better and try and like bring that scene to life. Like, yeah, I'm going to enjoy doing that one. It's been one I've been trying to do for a while, so it's given me a good excuse to actually really like dive into it and make it work. So I hope I can sort of do it justice because that's definitely
I
one of my favorite
trust that
episodes
you'll
too.
pull off something cool.
It's honestly one of my favorite episodes actually. Thinking about it, I remember
Yeah,
because part 1 and 2 wasn't it?
Atlantis'
So part
Darkest
one was
Hour.
the end of season 1, was it? Yeah, but part
Hmm.
1 was the end of season 1, then
No, part 2 was the end of
two.
season 1. Then part 3 was the
Oh,
beginning of
sorry, yeah,
season 2.
that was it. Yeah, so I
Get it
remember
right.
that sort of like, yes, oh no, but yeah, no, I remember when that came out and the wait for the next season. Like that was probably one of my most anticipated seasons, I think, because of that ending. And I think, yeah, I think Atlantis really just, yeah, I don't know, it was just such a fun show,
Mm.
Atlantis. Actually, like, yeah, I'm just still so excited that Stargate's coming back again. I thought the franchise was dead, honestly. I thought like it was like, right, I've had my time. Like it was good fun. Let's just all be nostalgic about it. I just thought they all say
This is
something new is going to come, and they never did. And I thought, oh,
It was
fantastic.
just a
Yeah,
question of when. It was
yeah,
I always knew it was going to come back. That's why I created Dial of the Gate. Sooner
yeah.
or later they're going to do this thing. So I just want to make sure that when the tsunami comes along, we can crest
You're
the
there.
tsunami rather than being absolutely sucked in by
Definitely,
it. So
absolutely.
and it's just you can't keep something like this down forever.
No,
You can
no,
bring it back
definitely.
and you can destroy it really
Oh,
easily,
I know.
but
Don't worry.
it was never a question of them not bringing it back and taking another
Yeah.
swing on the mound. So it's just we're in that phase now of, oh my God, it's coming. What's it going to be? So
I know.
everyone, with a couple of exceptions, everyone is really excited to have it back. So
I'd say so. I
James, this
think
is
I think it's
awesome.
been positive, and I think that's nice as well. Like I think in general within the Stargate fandom, honestly, I think it's been pretty generally positive. I mean, you get a few here and there who want to hate on anything, but I mean, I think honestly, open-minded, most people, I think they seem pretty excited. And when I talk to people about
Hmm.
it, and they message me or reply to a thing, like everyone seems pretty excited that it's coming back.
Hmm.
Just we all want it to be sort of, I guess, good, as we all want everything to be.
That's
We
it.
want something that's
You know,
good, something well thought out and good. And I think with the original team on the case, I'm feeling like, okay, like you've got the original guys here who made what we loved before. They can do it again. And I just
that's
think,
it.
I put faith in them before, I put faith in them again.
Look, when they were all younger, they were doing 40 hours of television
It's so
a
much.
year.
That's
And
so much.
now we are asking them to do 10 hours of television in 2 years.
They can do it. Yeah,
They've got to.
they can do it. They can do it. I have faith in it. I really do. And I think it was really smart how they dropped the news with like the guys coming on to talk about it. And I think that was really good optics. I think that was a good decision from them. Just from a fan perspective, I think that was a really, really good like thing to do. Rather than just giving us a poster or something, I think actually getting the guys to come and talk about it, I just think was genius. I think that was a really good idea. So yeah,
Hmm.
as a fan, I was definitely reassured from that, and I think that definitely did what they wanted to do. So yeah.
Absolutely. James Young, Venture Pictures. Where can we find
Thank
you,
you.
buddy?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at venture.pictures, and then you'll find my links and then my bio from there to sort of like X, YouTube, or basically everywhere else I post stuff. But largely I post on Instagram and I
Yeah,
post on YouTube occasionally when I have a landscape video.
there we go. Yeah. Well, this is tremendous to have you.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
thrilled that we've been able to go through and take a look at some of your stuff.
Oh,
And
it's fun, man.
I'm constantly turning around and finding something new that you've done. It's like, wow, that is
Oh,
really
thank you.
cool. So
No,
keep
thank you,
on
dude.
trucking. I'm thrilled to be collaborating with you.
Yes, and
Uh,
same. Thank you.
and I don't think that everything that's on Dial the Gate has to be photorealistic.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I think that I wanted to do that for a while to show people, hey, this is what this channel is capable of in terms
yeah,
of
yeah,
connecting with artists. And
yeah,
now it's like I'm at a point where I just want to bring more people into the tent. It's like,
yeah.
okay,
No, do it.
you're
Yeah,
doing this thing over here. It as long as it looks cool and I can see the
exactly.
talent coming through and the love of
Yeah.
the I don't want to say IP, the love of the
No, no,
show
no, cool.
coming through,
Yeah.
I want to share that with my audience. So, thank you.
Absolutely, dude. No, that's absolutely fine, and that actually like is a nice ender. Like I think, when that passion shines through, it doesn't have to be the best, the best, the best, the best. Just go look at all your old shows you all love. The VFX is probably good to today's standards, and we still love that, and we still rewatch that, and we still think that's fantastic. So, yeah, I think the passion, if it shines through, then people gravitate to it. So yeah, if you have passion for it, just do it.
James Young with Venture Pictures. Thank you so much, brother, for coming on. My name is David Reed with Dial-A-Gate. You're watching the Stargate Oral History Project. Tomorrow is our 400th episode, and Terrell Rothery, Dr. Janet Fraser, is returning for her first time since season 1 of our show. I'm thrilled to have Terrell Bath. That was not a Freudian slip. I swear, Terrell. I'm thrilled to have Terrell back. God. Ah. And we're going to just have a good time with her. But I have to thank so many people who have been involved in making this season a reality for me. There are so many people who make this series possible now. Lead archivist Jacob Oleish, he has been doing the Lord's work with the transcriber team. There are a ton of them now pulling this thing together. We were at like at 52% in terms of completion for the transcript backlog. If you want to join the transcript team, we have a tool that helps you get through like an hour's worth of content in approximately 2 hours now, if you really know what you're doing after you get yourself up to speed. He's tremendous. Ian Bernardo, he is building something extraordinary with Heliopolis. That's all I will say. And Martin McLean is helping him as well. Martin has also designed half of the things that you see behind me here. Anthony Rowling, lead moderator. The dude is just extraordinary. He also posts my unlisted to public live streams before they go live, and that's something I don't even have to think about anymore. I'm so thankful to him for that. I've got Kevin Weaver, who is heading up our chapter Timecodes team. I've got just Telemachos Komponos, who's my lead video editor, lead colorist Jethro Randall. He's doing some amazing, amazing work. Visual effects lead Matt Eagle, SG Wilson, graphics and animation Bryce Orrs. I could go on and on with these folks. Jonathan East. You know what? I have not given Jonathan enough praise. He created something really cool for me here that I have not shown a lot, because the fact of the matter is I got out of practice doing it. And that was this. We call it a call to action. This is where we invite you to come and play with us. Look, if you like Stargate and you want to see more content like this on YouTube, it means a lot if you do click that like button. It makes a difference with the show and continues to help us grow our audience. And if you've got a Stargate friend out there, consider giving this episode to them as well, sending it their way. And if you want to get notified about future episodes, click subscribe. And if you click the bell icon, you'll be notified the moment a new video drops, and you'll get my notifications of any last-minute guest changes. That's what we have for you on Dial the Gate. There's a lot of content coming out. I'm trying to do 20 episodes in 20 days. I'm kind of on track right now to do that. Alexis Cruz, Skara, is joining us this weekend. I've just spoken with Pierre Bernard, who is known through his Recliner of Rage segments on Conan, and also he appeared in Season 8 and Season 10 of SG-1 as well. So we're going to be getting him back to hear his thoughts on the new series. If he still thinks that Stargate SG-1 is way better without Dr. Daniel Jackson, we will have to wait and see. But there's a lot heading your way. My tremendous thanks to my team who pull off this show week in and week out. Really appreciate everyone's work. My name is David Reed for Dial the Gate. I appreciate you tuning in to check us out, and I will see you on the other side.